What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the advancements that I've seen in AI and software development and kind of my experience so far with some of these tools like the Gemini CLI and Claude Code. My favorite one so far has been Claude Code, and that's what I've actually been using to do some feature development, unit testing, and stuff like that for our platform constants, which you can check out in the description below here. And today I kind of wanted to break down some of the things that I've seen work really well and hopefully convince you to try this out if you are a software developer and haven't tried some kind of terminal coding assistant. So Claude Code, for anyone who doesn't know, is a smart assistant that you can have at the code level in a terminal. And basically what that means is that you can, with natural language, chat about the code base, chat about the implementation, the language, the if statements, the logic that you have inside the code, and then you can plan and make adjustments all through natural language. A really easy example might be, hey, I want this button to be red instead of blue, or I want this filter to pop over instead of being a brand new screen, stuff like that. And so, what I've seen to be super helpful in working with some of these, I guess, agents is to give it a plan. Before it starts working, I go and to my favorite LLM online and I will generate a plan for how the feature or the development should go, along with all of the requirements used in that development. And so that helps me understand and process my thinking around, hey, is this going to be built in the way that I have in my head? And then am I missing anything that I haven't thought of yet? And what I would do is I actually copy that file into my code base as a temporary file, at which point Claude Code now has access to it and can read through the documentation that I've provided and then make its own plan on how it's going to change the logic in the code to match my requirements. Pretty much the same way, any engineer might take on a task from, let's say, their project manager or a team leader. And what I've found is that if you give it good structure, the coding assistant is actually able to follow along quite well and even suggest things that might be tangentially related to what is in the requirements document and actually learn from what you're trying to do and suggest things that you can then learn from. The other thing that I've noticed in terms of how useful this is that if I know that I have two different things happening in the same code base in two completely separate files, then I can actually spin up two of these instances of Claude Code and have each of them work in separate files in the same repository at the same time. This is the kind of thing where I can essentially double my output or triple or quadruple if I have more files running, right? Or more Claude Code instances. This is the kind of thing that I'm not really understanding why some software engineers are not willing to at least try it and see where the limits are. It's a brand new technology that everyone should be trying out. And I firmly believe that we will get to a point where this is going to be generating code that you're going to be okay with, right? If you're sitting there thinking like, oh, like it's going to be a bunch of AI slop and stuff like that, I would really, really challenge you to get in there and try it with a project, preferably one where you've done most of the coding already and you have a really strong foundation, and then let the AI understand the code base, give it maybe a new feature you want to add, and then see if it's going off on its own, making its own stylistic decisions, or if it's actually following the foundation that you set up, right? In at least our code bases, having such a strong foundation that we had to write manually is now making it so much easier for us to scale these agents in our code to be able to make more and more changes as long as we make sure that they're following the guidelines that we set up in the first place. I firmly believe that these AI coding agents are going to be the way of the future in terms of allowing engineers to get way more output for the time they're spending at the keyboard, right? Today, typically, you have this feedback loop where you get the requirements doc, you might do some research, then you do some development, and maybe you have to Google something, and then review that, add that in, and then test and integrate what you built. But now we're able to do so much of that with one of these assistants like Claude Code, where all you're really doing is reviewing. If you have those documents up front and you have good structure, then you're really just reviewing the fact that the implementation was done to a level or a degree that you would expect. And if it's not, you can just ask it to make more changes, right? And I think people are going to get better and better and better at being able to double, triple, or quadruple their output by using these tools. And so, just to kind of wrap up my thoughts on these tools, I think they're going to get much better as these companies iterate over the next coming months and years. And getting in as soon as possible is only going to make you so much better as an engineer. And so, I'm curious if you guys have been seeing the exact same experience that I have, or if you're seeing something completely different, and why you might be for or against using something like this. If you have any of those thoughts, throw a comment down below. I'll be responding to all of them. And I'm super curious to see what everyone else is experiencing with this kind of new advanced AI tooling. And I also want to put together another video in the near future around a use case that I have for using these AI tools to help everyone get kind of a head start if you haven't tried these out. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.